Hello and good afternoon. It is afternoon. It's a bit late in the afternoon. I think it's probably after 4. The lighting's not terrible, but it's going to be what it is. I did a thing and I thought, you know what? It's going to be on the internet. It's going to be, people are going to see it because it's very obvious and you've probably already noticed. But I have a tattoo. Well, actually, I already have 3 tattoos, but none of them are actually obvious, and none of them you can actually see unless, you're looking for them or you know where they are. Whereas this one is very obvious. It's on my chest, and it's a daisy, and there is significance to why I picked a daisy instead of any other flower. And also why it's right there on my chest and very obvious. So about 3 or maybe 4 years ago, I had a lump on my chest, like right there in between my boobs. And it was getting bigger and bigger and it was bothering me. So I went to see my doctor. And my regular skin doctor had left the clinic, and I ended up having to go to a different doctor, and he did the biopsy to remove the cyst or the lump, and thankfully it turned out to be benign. But when you've got a lump on your chest, you don't want to just leave it, right? You need to get it checked and everything. And he was like, yeah, it's fine, it'll heal, whatever. What he didn't tell me was the fact that this particular part of the chest is very prone to keloid scarring. And so after a while, it healed, but then it started to keloid scar, and it got bigger and bigger and worse, and it actually ended up looking even worse than when I had that lump on my chest. And I didn't realize that, or didn't know that would be the case, because I actually have another scar here. I could probably show it to you, and you probably can't even really see it, but like that there, which is just a faint line, white line that's faded from yet another lump that was removed. And that, healed very well. I never really noticed it, and, I kind of forget about it. But this was like this giant, bright, red, lumpy third nipple, which was not cute. And I didn't like it. It bothered me. And when I went to see my GP, I want to say about a year or so ago, he said, oh yeah, we can take care of it and reduce it. So I went and had a course of 6 cortisone injections over 6 months, one a month, where he injected cortisone into the keloid scar, which shrank it. And by the end of the 6 months, it shrank it down so that it was flat, but it was still very red and it still looked very inflamed. And the redness didn't go away. And then he said, this is a temporary measure and it'll come back. And so for the last 3-4 months, I've noticed that it was starting to come back and starting to come back. And I realized, talking to the doctor, that this was going to be something that I had to do ongoing, which was basically go in and get a course of 6 injections over 6 months, leave it for 6 months, it'll come back, and then I'll have to go in and get another bunch of injections. It'll go down, and it was just this sort of constant annual cycle of 6 months of injections, 6 months for it to come back, and then another 6 months of injections. If it was anywhere else, and I've got scars in other places, I have scars from, the big surgery that I had when I had the hysterectomy. It doesn't bother me, and I don't care. And that one's not visible because, I'm wearing clothes. But this one is on my chest. It's very visible. Every time I wear something that was even remotely lower cut, like for example, this dress, it was very obvious, and it bothered me. I didn't like it. I hated it. I hated looking at my skin and on my chest and thinking, oh, I need to like get some concealer and cover it up, and it never really worked. And it was the whole like third nipple thing that bugged the heck out of me. And hubby, who is actually behind me at the moment, who's normally very like wonderful about how things look on me, and he's the first person to say, oh, it doesn't matter, you know, it looks great, you look great, you know, you don't need to do this. This was one of the few times where he said, yeah, if you want to cover it up, go ahead and get a tattoo. You know, and so I thought about it, and you know, I've been thinking about it for quite a while. I think I probably started thinking about it even before I got the injections to reduce the size of the keloid scarring. And I didn't really want anything particularly big. I didn't want anything that was going to be super obvious, but it's a tattoo on my chest, okay? It's gonna be obvious. But I had thought about it for a very long time, and I finally decided that I was gonna do it. And thinking about it, this was sort of like, I don't know, a year and a half, or, you know, kind of 2 of thinking about it. And I admit that even right before, when I was standing over the tattoo artist's chair while he was explaining the design to me and we were discussing the design, I had thoughts about, oh, I wonder if it's too late to just back out of this, and am I doing the right thing? And, you know, should I just walk away and lose my deposit and live with this thing on my chest? But I really hate that scar. And I'm not doing this for, you know, anyone, because nobody's really like said, oh, you've got this thing on your chest. You know, people are generally really polite. I think my mom might have noticed a couple of times, but you know, mothers. So I did this for me, and I really basically just wanted something very soft, very delicate. And I wanted a flower, and I sort of was thinking about what I wanted, looked it up on the internet, looked at designs and things like that. And I wanted something that looked very natural. And I also wanted something where I could pretty much wear anything in any color clothes without it clashing with my clothes. So I didn't want like this. Originally, the tattoo artist was like, oh, hey, how about this giant mandala that's solid black? I'm like, no. A lot of the flower designs I saw were mostly roses, and they were filled in with bright red. I didn't want that, even though I wear a lot of red, but I still wear a lot of other colors. And I want it neutral, and I want it soft. And this is not a common style according to the tattoo artist, because there's no black in the design. It's gray. It's a little bit of purple, a lot of browns and ochres, as you can see. So, you know, that's the design. And I wanted basically a daisy, and I didn't just want one daisy, I wanted 2. So I researched the style, and I found a design that had the style that I wanted, and I sent that to the tattoo artist. And then I researched, I drew like this and this, you know, and like stick figures for the tattoo artist, and said, this is kind of how I want it to look. And then I found a picture of the roses that looked like this, but they were roses. And I said, this is what I want, but this color and all of that sort of stuff. So he went off and he designed something, because obviously I didn't want to take anything off the internet, and I didn't want to copy anything of anybody else's, you know, work or whatever it is off the internet. And the tattoo artist designed this for me. And what I love about this is the way it turned out. It covers up the scar. And unless you know there's a scar, and unless you're looking really hard and really close for it, you cannot see the scar, which is exactly what I wanted. And when I look at it, you know, I can't see the scar. I see the pretty daisy design flower, and I really, really love it. It looked a bit odd the first couple of days, but then once it started to heal and dry and everything, it was just really, really pretty. And that's what I wanted. I wanted pretty. I'm terrible with pain, so I wasn't really wanting to, you know, I knew I was not going to be good about that. And my tattoo artist said, "You're very vocal." But but he said, "Don't move." He said, "I don't mind that you're vocal, but you didn't move at all," which was good. I was able to stay still, but oh boy, it hurt. He said the sternum is a very painful area, and I kid you not, it was very, very painful. So we went back and forth. There was a lot of discussion. He said I was very fussy. I was. I was very particular about how I wanted it to look. You know, I was really particular about how I wanted it to look very natural, very neutral. And so what you I don't know, can see here is that there's the outline of the daisy, and the core and the center of the daisy is a bit filled in with color shading. And then there's the stem and the leaves. And, you know, if I sort of, you know, that's what you see. But, you know, depending on what I'm wearing and things like that, it kind of covers it up. And depending on what bra I'm wearing, it kind of smooshes it up together too. And we were kind of going back and forth on whether we would fill in the petals or not. So everything that you see around here and even here, that's not the outline of the flower and not the shading around the center of it, is skin. And we ended up not filling in the skin for two reasons. One of it was it kind of got to the point where I couldn't handle the pain anymore. And he said, "I think we need to stop and sort of reassess, because I think you've reached your limit on, you know, on the pain," which was a very good thing, because it was starting to, like, the pain was starting to build up. It was cumulative, and it was like, whoa, okay, that's a lot of pain. And then it was also, I kept harping on the fact that I didn't want it to look like very, very obvious and solid. And, you know, he had this idea that he wanted to fill it in with white and gray and purple and to fill in the petals. And I was like, no, I still want it to look really natural. So we kind of got to the point where he said, "We'll stop, you know, one for the pain, and two for, you know, the fact that we should reassess and then decide how much further we want to go." And I decided, you know, after I looked in the mirror, that, wow, I just really like it unfilled in like that, with my skin tone coming through as the color of the petals. And so this is how it's landed, and this is how my tattoo has ended up looking. And I do absolutely, oh God, smudging under my eyes. I do absolutely love it. And I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. I think part of it was the fact that my tattoo artist and I communicated a lot, and we communicated every single step of the way. And he would be like, "I'm now tattooing the stem. I'm now tattooing this. I'm now using this color. I'm now using that color." And I was able to kind of see what he was doing when he was taking like a little bit of a break, or when he was, you know, just turning away to dip into more ink just to see how it was going. And it was this constant communication that we were having, where, you know, I was asking him what he was doing. He was telling me what he was doing, and we were adjusting the color to as we were going so that, you know, we didn't go too purple or too gray or too dark. And I kind of knew what I really wanted. So yeah, and this is how it's ended up. And I am really, I know I said this a lot of times, I'm really happy with it and I love it. I haven't actually showed my mother yet as of when I'm filming this now, but by the time this has uploaded, I assume that I would have shown her, or my mother would have seen this, because we're going in to have Mother's Day lunch with my family and in about 2 weeks, and I haven't decided what I'm wearing yet. So depending on what I wear, they might see this. And I'm being a little bit cautious of like what I say and, you know, who I tell right now. But I expect that by the time this video goes up, it's like, hello, tattoo is out of the bag. And, you know, hello world. I did take the tattoo out for a spin today. I mean, not spin. I went out for lunch and I did get a couple of compliments from, you know, where we went and had lunch and did some errands and things like that. And I got some comments saying, oh, that's, you know, a very pretty tattoo, which is exactly what I wanted. Not, whoa, okay, that's a scar you've covered up. And that was the intention anyway. So yeah, that's it. That's my tattoo. Oh, I said there was a reason for the daisy. So my name is Deanna, and when I was born, my grandfather wanted to name me Daisy. Not the flower, the margarine. Because back in the day when I was born, the margarine, I think it's now called Flora, and I don't actually know if it's still around because, you know, we don't have margarine. Oh, well, we don't eat margarine. But back in the day, that margarine was called Daisy. And my grandfather wanted to name me Daisy after the margarine. And my mom nixed it. I actually don't mind the name Daisy. I like the name Daisy, but, you know, being named Daisy after the flower because it's pretty is different from being named Daisy after the margarine. But yeah, so I've always have really fond, you know, sort of, I have a fondness for the daisy for that reason. And aside from the fact that it's actually a really pretty flower and one of my favorite flowers. The other one was a tulip, and I had considered the tulip, and I was leaning more towards the daisy. And when I asked hubby which one he preferred, he said he preferred the daisy too, and I took that into consideration as well. So there you go. That's the story of the tattoo on my chest. So thank you, and I will see you next time. Oh, and if you made it this far, listening to me for almost 20 minutes talk about a tattoo, leave a flower emoji, any flower emoji in the comments, and I will talk to you next time. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye. Hello. Okay, I signed off and I decided to come back. This is a few days later. But at the end of my video of the tattoo reveal, which you've been watching, I didn't have the pictures of the drawings because I was disorganized, which is normal for me, to show you of the designs. And I decided that it would help words, Deanna. I just filmed another video that was over 40 minutes long, and I think I've used up all my words. Yes, so I decided that maybe it would be helpful. I don't know. But anyway, so I was being organized this time, and I thought I'd show you. So this is the original design that I found, which I showed my tattoo artist that I sent to him. This is actually in the messages. And Then I sent him the sketch. I think I mentioned that I had a sketch, and I said, you know, I want it to look like this. I want the big flower, and then I want a small flower, and, you know, I have my little fantastic pencil drawing with words. Good stuff. And then I found on the internet, because the internet is very, very helpful, a beautiful rose tattoo, which kind of conveys the meaning or the image that I want in terms of like the style of the big flower and the little flower, you know, coming out the top, but flipped around. So if you imagine this, but the big flower on this side and the little flower on this side, or the bud on this side, that's what I wanted. And that is how my tattoo has ended up, which I'm going to pull down and show you because I'm wearing a higher shirt. But so, you know, this is the big flower and this is the little flower. And that's kind of what I landed on and how we ended up with the design that I ended up with. And I love it so much. I still love it today, as of, you know, a few days after filming that video. I do still love it. And I'm really enjoying it very, very much. So yes, no regrets whatsoever. Alrighty, now it's goodbye for real. I'm definitely going to go. Don't forget to leave the emoji. I cannot remember what emoji I said. I think a flower emoji of some sort. Leave a flower. Leave lots of flowers. We love flowers. Anyway, thank you. Do the likey thing, the commenty thing, the subscribey thing, and I will catch you next time. Bye-bye.